Toss it, CV Brain.
Know who sold the bolt?
How do you know?
Ben?
His favorite daughter. Clarice is the lane thief.
Tyron's got to arrest her. Find out what she knows. There's more to this than just the bolt. Something bigger.
I'm on it. So Aries, huh? What is this?
What?
Why did you turn into an old married couple?
Not to change the subject, but I'm gonna. We're headed to lost people. Traffickers.
Thumbs. What?
Well, I meant for the people.
No, but the animals are all set.
Hey, come on, before the guys seen the one with the giant lotus blossom on it.
You were like 2 seconds ahead of me. Seriously. Sometimes it might be okay to just let the easy ones go. Can we agree to just try it, maybe? I know we're supposed to be saving the world, but would it be unprofessional if we just hung out here for a bit?
We find Hermes.
Odysseus lands on a beach. There's these guys who've forgotten where they came from, forgot everything that was important to them. And they got that way because they ate.
The lotus flowers. Then what choice do we have? What do you think, wise girl?
Just don't eat anything.
The outside.
He could be anywhere. Let's split up.
I thought we didn't do that.
Like meeting his mom. She's a seer. A human who can see through the mist. Sometimes they see stuff that messes them up. Maybe helping us is a start.
You were really important to my family. And I know you were a big influence on my Uncle Ferdinand. When he was preparing for his search, he talked about you. It's just hard to talk to my friends about it. I don't know if they can understand.
I found him.
No, I found Ferdinand. It's okay.
I found Ben.
What?
Almost. He's here. I've almost got him. Girl.
You're eavesdropping on Hades. Conspiring with Clarice through your dreams.
Like getting Zeus and Poseidon to fight was only the beginning. And they're planning something bigger on top of it. You don't know?
There are things I don't know.
I won't tell if you won't.
Yeah, we met.
Would you like some?
I can't eat the lotus flowers, Augustus.
They're nacho chips. Would you like some?
Wait, I was here with someone, was I?
You're here with me.
Hey, demigods, welcome.
We were sent to find you.
Well, you found me.
We're friends of Luke's.
Yeah. Okay. A secret way. I've helped others find it before. And do you know what happens every time? You die. I mean, every single time. And I went anyway. And it wasn't just awful for Luke. It was awful for all of us. Yeah. Do you know? I know you do.
Why is he touching him? Get away from me.
Should I remind you too?
Oh,
I remember just fine.
yeah, period.
Watching you struggle and feel powerless to stop it. But that sometimes that's what parenting is.
Got invisible in his pocket.
You picked Hermes' pocket.
I'm multi-talented. We didn't eat any lotus fruit.
They pump it into the air. It makes you forget.
Grover.
Who's Grover? Have we met? Percy, Annabeth. We're your best friends.
Really? What? Really? Because of me?
Yes. He's gonna get sad.
It's okay. We're gonna be okay.
Yeah, we're gonna be okay.
I didn't even slow down.
Okay. Ew, the way they were sleeping. What just happened? He's
You
back.
guys are my best friends.
Oh, the music.
A little weird that I forgot a lot more stuff than you guys did. I know what that's about.
We weren't alone.
Oh, shut up.
It's easy to forget what's important when you're alone.
Oh my god, that sucks. The bit with Leah and you're in Niria. Ew, I don't like that. I don't do mermaids.
Sorry. He waited as long as he could.
He's not
The
there.
summer solstice passed earlier this evening. Zeus's deadline has elapsed. Your father has gone to marshal his forces and prepare for war. He
Wait,
asked her to relay a message.
this didn't happen in the book.
No.
So willful. Just like him. There is so much of him in you. We all see it. What belongs to the sea can always return.
Oh, it's the pearls.
Each will provide one of you safe passage back from the underworld.
Was that crusty? Oh my god.
After we get
Where is
you guys
Annabelle?
will leave. With my mom.
What about you?
Oh, where's
What about you?
That's crazy. God, I did not see a cameo, but just the idea that Nico and Bianca are here somewhere in the casino. Okay, so here to talk about episode 6. Obviously Lotus Casino episode, super iconic. I'm gonna start with my complaints. I'm pretty sure I just have one. I feel like I had 2, but I don't remember what it was. Well, my main complaint from this episode is just that I wish that there was more of, like, in the books, they're like, in the Lotus Casino, they're like, all like, they all split up and they're all like playing video games. It's just like, they're like, I don't know how to explain it. The like magic of the casino is that they're like playing these video games, and that is like they're losing track of time, and they're like, I don't want to leave, and all that sort of stuff, which happens to Grover. And so like they did do it slightly. I just wish they leaned more into the whole like, we don't want to leave this place ever. But then Percy's the one that like breaks out of it, and he's like, no, we gotta go. And even like Annabeth doesn't want to leave, Grover doesn't want to leave, all that stuff. Which like they sort of do it in the show. Like when they first walk into the casino, Percy's like, would it be unprofessional if we just like hang out and play video games for a while? And then like obviously in the end of the whole casino bit, Grover's like playing the VR game, and he's like, no, I just gotta keep like we just keep going, all this stuff. So that's my main complaint. I wish there was more video game content. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's my only complaint. Oh no, my other complaint was that I wish that throughout the season, because since they made the change of like the solstice has already passed, which I personally like, I don't mind that change. I've heard people complaining about that because it's like not like the books or whatever. First of all, we haven't even seen what they do with it yet, so like chill out and like wait to see where it goes. You know, you're complaining about something that like hasn't even happened yet. Second of all, I think that's kind of a cool change that like it's already passed, but with that whole thing of them being like, it's Thursday, the solstice already passed, I wish they throughout the season had put more emphasis on like whatever day the solstice was on, or like we need to get there before the solstice. I can't talk before the solstice, because I might just be remembering wrong, but I feel like they haven't really talked about the solstice being the deadline that much. They're just sort of talking about how like this war is coming and it's coming quick. I feel like they haven't really, I guess they have talked about the deadline, but I wish that they said like what day it was, because in the casino, Hermes is like, it's already Thursday, or is that, whatever. They find out that it's already Thursday and that days have gone by, but like at that point I'm like, is the solstice Thursday? Like, when is the solstice in comparison to that time? You know, I wish the timeline was just a little more clear, because like literally in the book I'm pretty sure they have like actual like dates, like it's like June 2nd, June 15th, or whatever day, like it says the actual day. So I wish that the timeline was just a little more clear. But other than those two things, I love this episode. So I'm just gonna go through it, talk about all the things, you know the drill. So first of all, we start with maybe one of the most iconic Percy dreams. I will say, when reading the books, I hate dream scenes, like for real. Like whenever Percy's having a dream and I'm reading it, I'm like, I do not care. Like, I really hate to break it to everyone, but I do not care. Even like just in general, dream scenes, I just don't really like them as much. The only specific dream scene that Rick wrote that is coming to my head that I liked is in The Sun and the Star, Nico's dreams, because those are like a whole thing. They like are a story. They're scary. They have like a whole purpose. I know Percy's dreams are scary too, but like Nico's are like, it's like really disturbing. I just don't like the dream scenes, and so the dream parts of the show, I'm like, they're good, but like I just don't really care about them that much. But basically, I do love that he dreamed of like this mysterious man who we're not supposed to know yet, but like is obviously Kronos. I love that he dreamed of Kronos' voice in the headmaster, or like the principal. I don't know why I said headmaster. It's like a British school, but the principal or whatever, because it's just like that sense of power or like authority or whatever coming, and like scary, so like an ominous overlooking force. I like that symbolism. And then so it's like, this is, if you're looking for a little fun activity in the Lightning Thief musical, the Weirdest Dream reprise is literally like this specific dream where, spoiler alert, Kronos is talking to Luke. I'm pretty sure it's Luke and not like Ares or whatever. He's talking to Luke, and Percy's like overseeing it, and Kronos is like, somebody's here listening even as he dreams. And it's just this sort of fun little teaser thing of like, we're so close to seeing who the Lightning Thief is, but it's like slightly behind the door. It's a very cool like framing scene. I liked it. I did like it. And also in the end of it, Kronos is like, yeah, we're not supposed to meet yet. It's like, show me what you're capable of, young demigod. And it's interesting because like Kronos is still sort of like trying to get Percy like on his team, which is so funny. He's like, show me what you got so I can recruit you. So yeah, that's the whole dream sequence at the beginning of the episode. Then Percy wakes up in the zoo truck, and Annabeth is like fiddling with a prism, and she's trying to send an iris message to camp. And also, okay, so the zoo truck scene cut, which I'm honestly kind of happy about, because they already did it. Like, they already fully accomplished the meaning of the zoo truck scene in like episode 3. So I'm like, I'm glad that they just cut it and they didn't spend time doing the zoo scene or the zoo truck scene just for like, just so like fans weren't like, where's the zoo truck scene? And it's just like make like a weird scene that's like not necessary, because it like they've already become friends. So I respect that decision. I love it. And so they're sending the iris message. Interesting choice that I just noticed is that they don't use water. Because there's this like whole thing in the books of like, you're trying to send an iris message, but what I have to say, you're trying to send an iris message, but they need to like find some source of water and then like shine a light on it. It's like a whole thing. But Annabeth just like has a prism and like shows it in the light and it makes a rainbow, which I guess logistically prisms would make a rainbow anyway, right? Whereas like if you just have like a flashlight, that wouldn't make a rainbow, so you would need water. So maybe you still do need water to make a rainbow, but just not if you have a prism. Never mind, I'm getting too into it. She sends an IM to Chiron. She's trying to send it to Chiron, but Luke answers it, which I still don't know how that works. Iris messages are weird because it's like there's no like accept or decline, it just goes through. So like Luke is just like, oh hey, like you can't avoid an iris message, which is so funny. So basically somehow it reaches Luke, I don't know, and Luke's like, hey guys, or he's like, hey Annabeth, like what's up? And he's like, is something wrong? And then he sees Percy and he's like, oh, Percy's here. Because it's like, obviously Luke is the lightning thief, and so he's like, oh, Percy's not dead yet? Yeah. But what do they say? Oh, they're like, Luke, we know who the lightning thief is, and he's like, how do you know? It's so good. It's so good. Basically, he's like, how do you know? And they're like, it's obviously Clarice, because Ares was a part of it. But like a god can't steal it, it has to be a demigod, so we think Clarice did it. And Luke is like, yes, exactly what I was thinking, definitely Clarice. And then they're talking about like, he's like, how's it going, whatever, and then Percy and Annabeth are like arguing about what day it is, and he's like, oh, when did you become an old married couple? And they're like, it's so funny. Yeah, and then that's pretty much the IM. But basically, I just like Charlie Bushnell, you better be making bank from your acting, because he just does it so well. He's just got that like cool like older counselor, like big brother vibe, and like dude, like they really don't make it obvious, which is so good, because like I feel like in the book like when I was reading it I didn't know, but I feel like it's like sort of obvious that it's Luke, and not that it's not obvious in the show, because it just sort of is, but I really think if I didn't know the books and all this stuff, I really do think I would think it was Grover. Like, I really do. They're really, like, sending Grover off on his own and then having Percy and Annabeth do their thing. And I would totally think it was Grover. Or I would be like, oh, it's Annabeth, because Percy and Annabeth have been spending all this time together and she's going to betray him in the end. And all this stuff. Like, if I had no idea about all the past, or, like, all the books and, like, whatever. So I think that they're doing a really good job of making it not obvious that it's Luke, because even in the IM he was like, there's a moment where he's like, how do you know? Because they're like, we know who the lightning thief is, and he gets a little nervous and he's like, he's not like, who is it? He's like, how do you know? And it's so good. And then like they're like, it's Clarice, which by the way, that eats. I love that they think it's Clarice. Always blaming my girl. Like, let her live. She is not your villain. Yeah, that's pretty much the IM. And then they end it. And then Grover's like, we need to set the animals free. Which, absolutely obsessed. I will say we didn't get the scene of Percy talking to the... He talks to the zebra, I'm pretty sure, in the book. he didn't talk to the zebra this time, but that's okay. I don't even know, like, at some point in this show, he's gonna have to talk to a horse, and it's gonna look crazy. So when that day comes, I don't know, dude. It's gonna look great. I don't know how you make that look normal. Like a talking horse. Oh, I don't know. Whatever. So they set free all the animals into Las Vegas, which slays, and what's it called? The Grover puts like the satyr's protection. It has a name. Something that like they will find their way to the wild and be free, which, dude, love. I love it. It's so cute. And then they're like standing outside the casino and they're like, okay, we gotta find Hermes. And Percy's like, well, how do we know which one's the Lotus Casino? And Annabeth is like, the one with the big lotus flower on it. And it's just a cute moment, little joke. And then, first of all, I just want to say, like, the outside shot of the Lotus Casino is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Like, it's like glass and it's a lotus flower in the sky. It's like so cute. They go in, immediately Levitating by Dua Lipa is playing, which there's been mixed reactions. Some people are haters. I'm not. I love it, dude. If you feel like you need a little bit of company, you met me at the perfect time. It's so good. And people were like, because, you know, like, in the Percy Jackson the first movie, the Lotus Casino scene is the only good scene. And I honestly, so, like, that's like the general, that's what everyone says. I personally don't even remember any part of the scene other than, like, the beginning, when the song starts playing, and they eat the flowers, and they're like, okay, we're gonna stay here for a while. It's so weird. Oh my god, I can't. And everyone was like, they gotta play Poker Face, and Rick was like, we're not playing Poker Face, sorry guys. Which, like, I love that they didn't, cause, like, they're not trying to reference the movies, dog. That's the whole point of why they're making the show, is that the movie sucked. But anyway, I liked the levitating moment. So basically they walk in and they're like, okay, we gotta find Hermes. Grover, you go that way. Annabeth and Percy, you go this way. And if you find Hermes, we'll, like, meet up and talk to him. And basically there is this little scene, and this is going back to my thing of, like, if I didn't know the lore, I would totally think Grover is the lightning thief, because they keep giving him these little, like, looks when he's like, because Grover's like, what do I do if I find Hermes? And Annabeth is like, come back here and, like, meet with me, and then we go and I talk to Hermes. And Grover's like, he's like, what? I want to talk to Hermes, whatever. And it's just like, I would totally think he was a villain, but whatever. But basically Annabeth is like, you know, like, I know Hermes, I've met him before, and she's like, I can get through to him because I know Luke, and, like, all this stuff. And so basically, sort of like episode 5, they split off and do their separate things. So Grover is out and he's looking for Hermes, and then he runs into Augustus, who is a satyr who's not in the books at all, but Grover has a history with him. I don't even know what it was, but, like, Grover has known him from something. I don't know if all satyrs are, like, related. But, like, I don't know. Basically, Grover is like, oh, Augustus, hey. And then Augustus is like, I don't know who you are. And Grover's like, oh, he's been eating the lotus flowers. And so he's like, my Uncle Ferdinand, like, you remember him? And all this stuff. And then Augustus is like, yo, Pan is here. He's in the casino. And Grover's like, no way. And so Grover just follows this man deep into the casino. And they're, like, looking and they're looking. And then they get to this point, and then, like, Augustus turns around and he's like, oh, hey, who are you? And Grover's like, I'm Grover, we've been talking for, like, 10 minutes. where's Pan? And then he realizes Augustus is like, he's being affected by the lotus flowers. He keeps forgetting. And so Grover's like, okay, so I'm sort of like stuck here. But then Augustus is like, basically they just start having this conversation and Grover starts to forget too. Like, Arian's acting in this scene is so good. Like, the way he's like, I don't remember, I wish I remembered the lines, but he's just like this like blank stare and he's just like vaguely smiling and he's like, I don't remember. And he's like, I don't know. He's like, let's go look for Pan. And they're just like smiling and they're just like, we don't know what's happening. Yeah. And so like at that point we cut back to Percy and Annabeth, but there's stuff I want to talk about going back to, oh, not my phone being at 10%. With Grover and Augustus, I do just want to say, because when making this show, I always like to look for like little parallels or whatever between The Sun and the Star and Chalice of the Gods and this show, because both of those books were sort of written like in tandem with the show, like, as you know, they were like adding different like changes to the show that weren't in the books. Rick took some of that inspiration and added it into those two books because he wrote those when the show was happening and being made and all that stuff. And I just can't help but notice the similarities between Grover and Augustus in the casino and Nico, I think it's Nico and not Will. Nico and, I'm gonna mess up his name, Amphithymus in The Sun and the Star. Because if you haven't read the book, in The Sun and the Star, when Nico and Will get to Tartarus, I'm pretty sure it's Nico and not Will, but he meets, I don't know what, a centaur, I think. It's a centaur named Amphithymus, I think. And Amphithymus is like, I'm trying to find the baby. And Nico's like, what? And he's like, hey, let me help you. And they're like looking for this baby. And Nico's like, I'm Nico. And Amphithymus is like, hello, like, let's go look for the baby. And then 10 seconds later, he's like, who are you? And Nico's like, I'm Nico. And basically, it's a mania. It's not lotus magic, but it's just a mania. Which is sort of just like a ghost that like lives a bad memory on repeat. And it's just this really like eerie, spooky scene where this centaur is looking for baby Dionysus, and Nico's like, Dionysus isn't a baby, you keep forgetting who I am. It's like, it was really like spooky scene. And it's so good. And I wonder if like that sort of inspired the Grover and Augustus like forgetting and like looking for Pan and like all this stuff. They just like reminded me of each other. So I don't know what that means, but yeah. Also in this scene is it's when we get the Nico little. So when I was watching the episode, obviously I didn't catch any cameos because I fully thought, here's the thing, Arian in an interview at some point said, he was asked about like Easter eggs or something, and he was like, in the Lotus Casino scene, just listening, he was like, look out for some names being thrown around. That's what he said. And so we were like, what does that mean? And there was this rumor going around that on a leaderboard somewhere, it was gonna say Nico or Bianca or like their initials or something. And so that's what I was looking for, and I like didn't see it anywhere. But somehow people heard in the background of this scene of Grover and Augustus, around like 12 minutes something, in the background you can hear a little boy voice yelling Bianca, like not super loudly, but it was like loud enough that I'm like, if that was not intentional, why is it so prominent in the background? And it's like perfectly placed in a pause between Grover and Augustus. Like Grover says something and then there's a pause and it's like, Bianca, Bianca, and then Augustus says something, and I'm just like, I didn't know if it was real or not, but we have gotten confirmation from our boy Liam T. Crowley after he did an interview with Dan Schatz, I think. And he basically confirmed that they literally like put in audio of a little boy screaming Bianca. So there's a little, like, Nico's in the premises. He's here. If you don't know, Nico's my favorite character in, like, all of the Camp Half-Blood Percy Jackson universe ever. I love him. So yeah, I'm really excited to hear that. Also, at some point earlier in the episode, there are two kids running through the background of a scene wearing purple shirts. We only see the back of them. We don't see what's on the front. But it's these two kids right next to each other, both wearing purple shirts. And I am in the camp of, I believe those are Camp Jupiter campers. Because as a creative team and, like, as a costume department, why would you randomly put two kids in the same, just, like, plain color shirt? Doesn't make sense to me. So I think that they were like, wear these purple shirts, and I think that they were SPQR shirts, and I think that they're from Camp Jupiter, and they're also on a quest in the Lotus Casino. So that's all for the Easter eggs. Basically, then we cut to Percy and Annabeth. They're going to find Hermes. They're chatting, they're walking. We get the lore. About May Castellan. Well, we kind of do. So basically, Annabeth talks about how May was a seer, and she could, like, see through the mist, and she saw too much, and it, like, drove her crazy, which is not exactly what happened in the book, and I'm, like, withholding, because here's the thing, I don't know if, at this point, Annabeth even knows that May tried to become the Oracle, and that's why she went crazy. Or, like, I don't know if Annabeth knows that, but that's just not how she explained it to Percy, or, like, I don't know what. Like, but I hope that they're keeping the storyline about, like, May tried to become the Oracle and that's what drove her crazy, and not just her, like, seeing things. I don't know. That's, like, a long... Because the May Castellan lore doesn't even come in until book 5 in the books. But I'm so happy that they're introducing it so early, because when stuff like that gets introduced in, like, the 5th book, I can't help but think, like, is this something that Rick waited to introduce for a reason, or is this just, like, a random thing he threw in at the end to, like, make Luke the hero of the prophecy? It's hard to say, but I love that they're introducing it so early, because I am a strong believer in the fact that Luke and Percy are obviously, like, parallels of each other, and the sole reason why Luke wasn't like Percy, or why Percy wasn't like Luke, is because of their moms, because Luke's mom wasn't there for him because she was crazy, but Sally was there for Percy and, like, was like, you're okay, you're good, you're not broken, babe, all that stuff. So yeah, I love that they introduced it so early, but I hope that they build on it, because I think the way that Annabeth explained it at this point isn't the whole story, and I hope that they add in the whole story eventually, but that doesn't need to happen in season 1 by any means. So yeah, they're looking, and then they find him, Hermes, and can I just say, I am obviously the biggest Lin-Manuel Miranda stan ever. I mean, that's probably not true, but, like, I could literally talk about it for a hot minute, but, like, in short, basically, Hamilton is the reason that I became, like, a fan of anything, like, for real. Like, that's what introduced me to fandom culture. And so, I just love Lin. I'm seeing shadows, y'all. I do this every video. I'm going crazy. But yeah, I love Lin. I think he was the perfect casting for Hermes. People will be hating, but in my mind, when I read the books, Hermes is just this weird little guy who, like, is not like Zeus and Poseidon and, like, Hades are described as these, like, powerful beings, and they're, like, always on Olympus or, like, in the underworld. They're, like, kings of their domains and all this stuff. Hermes is just this, like, weird little guy who runs around delivering packages and is, like, never really hanging out on Olympus. Apparently he spends his time in the Lotus Casino. Like, he's more worldly in a way. Yeah. So I think he's just this weird little dude. And I think Lin-Manuel Miranda's perfect for that. I love it, yo. And I think in this episode, Lin ate. Like, he did so good. So basically, they show up and Lin is like, or Hermes is like, hello, demigods. I love that he can just immediately recognize that they're demigods. Like, he just knows. And they're like, we need to go to the underworld. And he's like, okay. And so he takes them to this, like, side room. And they really sit down and they have their chat. And he's like, I can't really help you out. And then Annabeth starts to use the leverage of, like, because she was there when Hermes and Luke last met. And she's trying to sort of, like, convince him to do it to get on Luke's good side. And there's just this very, like beautiful monologue, or whatever, from Lin, where he's, like, talking about, like, parenting, and he's like, parenting's hard, and, like, all this stuff, and he's like, it's hard when you're trying, like, when you're the one that you love most, you just keep hurting each other, and all this stuff, like, stuff about why the Luke and May situation went so wrong. And he's basically like, I'm not gonna help you. And the thing about this scene is I genuinely don't know what to think about Hermes. And I don't mean that, like, that's not a criticism of the show. I think it's a plus side of the show. Because on one hand, like, I don't know how to explain it, dude. On one hand, he's an Olympian. And they just, like, I don't know if I'm supposed to think that he really, truly, like, would like to help Luke. Or if he's just making excuses and he's like the other Olympians and all this stuff. Like, I don't know what side of the court I'm on. Because I feel like in the show... In the book, like, we don't even see Hermes in The Lightning Thief, but we see him in the Sea of Monsters when he sends Percy on the quest to go and try to save Luke. And in that sense, I was like, he's trying to help, but, like, is he just doing it to save his own image, that his son isn't the one causing this great war? Like, what's the motivation? I don't know his motivation. So Hermes has always been a character that I'm sort of like, I don't know if I'm trusting that he's really trying to help Luke, or if I'm like, it's a little sus, you know? But I kind of love it. But basically he's like, no, I'm not going to help you get to the underworld. And they're like, dog. And so Annabeth is like, I'm out of here. And she walks away. And then Percy and Hermes talk about Poseidon a little bit. And it just, like, complicates Percy's feelings more. And then Percy walks away. Or, no, hold on. Hermes reveals to Percy that it's, like, Thursday, like, days have passed in, like, the 20 minutes that they've been in the casino. So then Percy's, like, running through the casino. It's, like, this is sort of the little dramatic little casino scene that we've been waiting for. He's, like, running through, he's pushing people. By the way, the costumes eat, because, like, there's all, like, they're all from different eras of time. Like, there's some, like, 20s dresses. They're all, like, glitz and glammy. Like, they've got, like, their little fur shawls. It's so cute. So yeah, he's, like, running through and he's trying to find Annabeth, and he's like, Hermes isn't helping us, but it's been days, we gotta go. And she's like, good, I stole his keys. And she holds up the little keys. They have the little Hermes symbol on them. So cute. And I think it's so iconic of Annabeth to, like, pickpocket Hermes, like, god of thieves. Like, when I think of Hermes, like, Hermes' kids, I think of two skills. I think of stealing and being fast. And she literally stole from him. Like, sly. Yeah. So she stole his keys. Okay, and then they're like, we gotta find Grover. But wait, no. They're like, we need to find... They don't remember Grover, which is a whole other thing. But then they see Augustus, and they're like, Grover. And there's this really funny joke that I, like, laughed out loud at. where they see Augustus, who's obviously like an older satyr, and Percy's like, wow, how long have we been here? Grover looks a lot older. And then it cuts away immediately, but I thought that was really funny. And they're chasing Augustus through the casino, and they're like, where's Grover? And he's like, I don't know who that is. And then they find Grover playing a VR game, and they're like, bro, we gotta go. And he was like, oh, I was about to find Pan in this like VR game. So sad. He also doesn't remember Percy or Annabeth at all, which is crazy. And then basically they're just like running out of the casino. And they run into the parking lot. All the cars are like from different eras too, like so cute. And then they get to like whatever, like Hermes' car, his limo or whatever. And at this point Grover's, I don't know if this is where he says it, but at some point Grover's like, are we late because of me? It's so sad. This show has made me into a Grover stan. Like, y'all, I did not, like, I hated to say this, like, before the show came out, because I'm like, I'm not trying to hate on one of the main 3 characters, but Grover is just not my kind of character in the books. He's just, like, he's, like, so just comedic relief, but, like, in the show, he's a lot more, like, serious, but he's still, like, fun and goofy and all this stuff, but he takes it a lot more seriously. That's what, like, not that he's serious, he just takes it more seriously, and he's a more integral part of the group, and he's like the mediator, and he's just like keeping them going, you know. Oh, I just love him. So then they steal a car, and it's just the whole gag about Percy driving is so funny, and literally just like, I read these books for the first time when I was 12, and now this show's coming out, and I got my license like 2 weeks ago. When time is passing, I can't. So yeah, he's driving, and it literally like me trying to drive, for real. Me trying to park. Oh my god. It was really funny. I've seen so many TikToks about Percy's like driving, and he keeps looking over at Annabeth with this huge smile on his face, and he just like, he keeps looking at her and getting distracted from driving. It's so crazy, but I love it. It's the chaos we need. And like, I love, you know, in like the movies, the whole gag about this part of the story was like, they're like at a club, and they're like eating these lotus flowers, and they're like intoxicated by these lotus flowers, and they're like partying in Vegas. But then the gag of this whole episode and part of the story is that Percy can't drive because he's 12, and it's just like they know their audience, bro. So yeah, he's trying to drive, and then eventually like there's this like I don't know how to explain it. They get hit by a train, but it's like just, I don't even know how to explain it, dude. They end up on the Santa Monica beach is essentially what happens. If that makes any sense. They just sort of teleport, because it's like Hermes' magical car or whatever. So they're in Santa Monica now. They show up on the beach, and Percy's like, I got this, guys, and he goes out into the ocean, and he goes to talk to the Nereid. I don't know if they're called Nereids. I've just been calling it that. The water spirit, whatever. I don't know. And this part of the episode is where I, like, maybe my favorite part. I don't like dreams, and I don't like when Percy's in the water talking to water spirits. That's my whole thing. And I don't know why I feel that way, but I just don't like it. It's like, I don't know if it's just because, like, he's just sort of sitting there and just information's being thrown at him. I don't know. But either way, I just don't like when Percy's underwater talking to water spirits. But this one, I was fine with. Because Percy goes, and she's essentially like, your dad's not here, you're too late. She's like, the summer solstice passed, which, like, the shot heard around the world. What do you mean the solstice passed? That didn't happen in the books, and frankly, everyone was shook by it. Like, everyone I've seen on TikTok, on YouTube, everyone was shook by it. And so she's like, it passed, and he's like, no, I'm still gonna finish this quest, which is so, the character development, I'm dead. And then she gives him 4 pearls, which famously in the book she gave him 3, and they're obviously going to the underworld, and he's trying to save himself, Grover, Annabeth, and his mom, and so it's like, girl, we don't have enough pearls, but now he does have enough pearls, and we're like, what's gonna happen? And I've heard people say that, like, he's gonna, like, lose a pearl rather than just only being given 3. He's gonna be given 4 but then lose 1, and so it's gonna be even more devastating. So, like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but that's just a theory that I've heard. So yeah, and I'm super excited to see where they go with it, because this is like, I feel like the solstice being passed is a pretty big, like, divergence. Like, that is like a big deal. Like, that's a problem that the solstice is passed. That's not good, because that means, like, the war is starting. So I'm like, I don't know what we're gonna do, babe. But yeah, that's sort of where the episode ends. Percy's just like, I just gotta go figure it out. So yeah, then we got obviously the little, like, sneak peek of next week's episode, which, first of all, big news, Krusty's Waterbeds it's coming to the big screen, dude. Krusty's Waterbed. This scene, no one remembers it, bro. Like, people were talking about it on TikTok, and they were like, I don't even remember reading this. It wasn't in the movie, it wasn't in the musical, it's literally never spoken about, but it's, like, scary. Like, it's, like, to me, a standout part of the book, when Annabeth and Grover are literally strapped down to a bed and, like stretched. Like, it's like Hansel and Gretel, like weird horror. It's scary. So we're getting that. Lucky us. I'm excited. And then, so, like, next episode is a bunch of underworld stuff. It's underworld and the Ares fight is what I'm sort of getting. First of all, would like to say, okay, this is another thing. My phone's about to die at some point, so I don't know. But what am I trying to say? Annabeth, there's a shot of Annabeth hanging off a cliff in the underworld, and then there's a shot of her alone with those weird, creepy, mummy-looking things, humans perhaps, and then there's shots of Percy and Grover at Hades' palace, running away from Cerberus. All this stuff that they're doing in the underworld, just the 2 of them. And so, like, when I saw that for the first time in the preview, I didn't really think much of it, because there have been stills released previously of Percy and Grover alone in the underworld, sort of, and so I was like, okay, there's gonna be something with, like, Annabeth getting split up from the rest of the group. But there are people on TikTok talking about her hanging off the cliff and being like, is she gonna fall into Tartarus? And I'm like, surely not. Like, surely not. I don't know what cliff she's hanging off of, but I don't think it's to Tartarus. But then again, the whole thing in the book with, like, the shoes that Luke gave them is that it's trying to drag them into Tartarus. But I'm like, there's no shot. There's no chance we're getting Annabeth and Tartarus in episode 7 of season 1. Tartarus is a season 8 event. We cannot be getting there so early. So I don't know what's gonna happen in the next episode. I don't know, dude. But even if we get a scene of Percy like trying to reach down and grab her before she falls into whatever cliff this is, the edits are gonna go crazy. It's crazy. And then the only other thing is the Ares fight, which is happening, which everyone keeps hyping up. So I'm not personally, like, when watching this show, the scenes I'm most excited for are not the fight scenes. I'm not really like an action girly, but I'm excited to see it nonetheless. I love the Ares actor, so let's slay. Let's eat it up. Yeah, and then after that is just episode 8. I can't believe it's so close to being done. I can't do it. But yeah, I cannot believe my phone didn't die. Shout out. But yeah, I loved episode 6. That's all I gotta say. Bye.